You see that image of Dick Allen being pointed at and yelled at by his own team? That's exactly what they want you to remember about him. For decades, the baseball world painted Dick Allen as a rebel, a troublemaker, and baseball's #1 bad boy. The media called him an outlaw who destroyed team chemistry wherever he went. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Dick Allen died 5 years ago, and they lied about who he really was. This man wasn't a rebel. He was a survivor fighting against a system that refused to treat him with basic human dignity. To understand Dick Allen, we need to start at the very beginning. Born on March 8, 1942 in the tiny village of Chewton, Pennsylvania, Richard Anthony Allen was one of 9 children in a family known for their athletic abilities. His mother, Ira, raised them mostly on her own, and all the Allen children excelled in sports. Dick and his brothers were basketball stars who earned all-state honors and helped their high school win 2 state championships. Despite having scholarship offers to play college basketball, Dick made a practical choice. He recognized that baseball offered a more financially secure path to help support his large family. When Philadelphia Phillies scout John Ogden saw Dick Allen play, he was so impressed that he signed the young slugger right after high school graduation for an estimated $70,000. This was the largest signing bonus ever given to a black player at that time. First thing Allen did with that money shows you everything about his character. He bought his mother a brand new house. This wasn't a selfish kid looking for fame and fortune. This was a devoted son who wanted to take care of his family. Even before Allen reached the major leagues, the system started trying to control his identity. Throughout his minor league career, everyone who knew him personally called him Dick. But when he joined the Phillies organization, they decided they would call him Richie on all their printed materials and programs. Allen openly hated this nickname. He said it made him sound like he was 10 years old when he was actually 22. Now let me take you to 1963 when Dick Allen was sent to play for the AAA Arkansas Travelers in Little Rock. This was ground zero for racial tension in America. Just 6 years earlier, President Eisenhower had to send in the 101st Airborne Division to protect 9 black students trying to go to school there. Dick Allen was about to become the first black professional baseball player in that city. Very first night he stepped onto that field, fans held up signs that read, "Let's not Negro-ize our baseball." Dick Allen had grown up in a small, racially integrated town in Pennsylvania, where he was known simply as a talented athlete. He had never experienced anything like this before. He later admitted that he was so scared during that first game that he froze. A routine fly ball came his way, and he dropped it. This wasn't because he lacked skill. This was because he was terrified. Every single day, Allen faced racial slurs from the crowd. He found threatening notes left on his car. He received death threats from people who had never even met him. While his white teammates got to stay together, eat together, and live normal lives, Allen was forced to live with a black family in a segregated part of town. He could only eat in restaurants when white teammates came with him. The isolation was crushing for a young man who just wanted to play the game he loved. His brother Coy came to visit during that season, and Allen told him he wanted to quit. He couldn't take the constant abuse anymore, but Coy gave him some tough love that changed everything. He said if Dick quit baseball, he'd have to come back home and work in one of the local steel mills for the rest of his life. That's when something clicked for Allen. He realized he had 2 choices: give up and let the racists win, or fight back through his performance on the field. Fight back he did. By the end of that season, Dick Allen had silenced his critics the only way he knew how. He led the entire league with 33 home runs and 97 RBIs. The same fans who had held those racist signs were now cheering for him. He was named the team's most valuable player. That experience in Little Rock changed him forever. It taught him that the world would judge him by his skin color first and his talent second. When Allen made it to the Philadelphia Phillies in 1964, he thought things might be different. He was wrong. Philadelphia had a reputation as one of the most racist cities in baseball. Jackie Robinson himself had once called it the worst place he ever played. Allen's rookie season was incredible. He led the National League in runs, triples, extra base hits, and total bases. He won the Rookie of the Year award. This was one of the greatest rookie seasons in baseball history. Instead of celebrating their new superstar, Philadelphia fans made Allen's life hell. They booed him constantly. They threw cans, bottles, and even batteries at him while he played. The abuse got so bad that Allen started wearing his batting helmet while playing defense just to protect himself. This earned him the nickname Crash Helmet, and the media painted it as some kind of strange, defiant act. In reality, it was self-preservation. Allen was literally protecting his head from objects thrown by his own team's fans. The worst part came during the team's famous September swoon in 1964. The Phillies had a 6.5-game lead with just 12 games left. They should have easily won the pennant. Instead, they collapsed completely, losing 10 straight games and missing the playoffs. Someone had to take the blame, and guess who the media picked? Not the white players who also struggled, not the manager who made questionable decisions. They blamed Dick Allen. The newspapers accused him of dividing the team along racial lines. They said his presence was causing clubhouse problems. When Allen got into a fight with teammate Frank Thomas, it was reported as evidence that Allen was a troublemaker. But what the media didn't tell you was that the fight started because Thomas had been making racial slurs toward Allen and another black teammate. Allen wasn't starting trouble, he was defending himself and standing up for his friends. This is when Allen started doing things that made the media call him a rebel. He would show up late to batting practice. He once famously wrote "boo" in the infield dirt during a game. The press painted these as acts of defiance and disrespect. But if you understand what Allen was going through, these weren't acts of rebellion. These were acts of protest. Name controversy was another example of how the system tried to control Allen. Everyone who knew him called him Dick, but when he joined the Phillies, they decided to call him Richie on all materials. Allen hated this. He said it made him sound like he was 10 years old when he was actually 22, but they refused to respect his wishes. It seems small, but it represented something bigger about respect and control. After years of this treatment, Allen was traded to other teams and eventually landed with the Chicago White Sox in 1972. Chicago was desperate for a baseball hero. The White Sox were struggling badly, and there was even talk of moving the team to another city. When Allen arrived, something magical happened. The same behaviors that had made him a troublemaker in Philadelphia were suddenly seen as charming quirks in Chicago. His late arrivals to the ballpark, it was just Dick being Dick. Unconventional approach that showed he was a free spirit. Before we continue, here was a man who just wanted to play baseball and support his family. But everywhere he went, he faced hatred simply because of his race. If you think Allen showed incredible strength, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think his biggest strength was. Allen delivered for Chicago in ways nobody expected. His 1972 season was phenomenal. He led the American League in home runs with 37, RBIs with 113, walks with 99, and his on-base plus slugging percentage was 1.023. He was hitting massive home runs into the deepest parts of Comiskey Park, a stadium notorious for being tough on hitters. His performance almost single-handedly lifted the White Sox to second place in their division. For this incredible season, Dick Allen was named the American League Most Valuable Player. His teammates in Chicago loved him. When baseball historians later criticized Allen, calling him selfish, his Chicago teammates were quick to defend him. Wilbur Wood said Allen had no enemies in Chicago and was a fierce competitor who gave everything to the team. Carlos May said that while Dick danced to his own song, he wasn't the problem people made him out to be. These weren't just polite comments. These were genuine testimonials from players who shared the clubhouse with him every day. This reveals something crucial about Dick Allen's story. His reputation wasn't based on who he actually was as a person. It was based on the context of where he played. In Philadelphia, a city struggling with its own racial tensions, his personality was seen as problematic. In Chicago, that same personality was celebrated. The man hadn't changed. The environment around him had. Despite his incredible achievements, Dick Allen's path to the Baseball Hall of Fame was long and painful. For years, he was consistently snubbed by voters who focused more on his reputation than his statistics. He never received more than 19% of the vote from the Baseball Writers Association. The narrative that he was a troublemaker overshadowed everything he had accomplished on the field. But let's look at those accomplishments for a moment. Over his 15-year career, Allen hit 351 home runs and drove in 1,119 runs. His career batting average was 192, and his on-base plus slugging percentage was an elite .922. His OPS plus was 156, which ties him for the sixth highest among all players with at least 5,000 plate appearances since Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier. That puts him in the same conversation as legends like Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, and even modern superstars like Mike Trout. What makes these numbers even more impressive is that Allen achieved them during the pitcher's era of the 1960s and 70s. This was a time when pitching dominated baseball and offensive numbers were much lower. Allen wasn't just good during this era, he was exceptional. He was putting up superstar numbers when most hitters were struggling to stay above average. During his peak years from 1964 to 1974, Allen accumulated 58.3 wins above replacement. This number placed him just ahead of Willie Mays and behind only other Hall of Famers like Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, and Carl Yastrzemski. If that's not Hall of Fame worthy, then the standards don't make sense. The injustice was finally corrected on December 8, 2024, when the Classic Baseball Era Committee voted to elect Dick Allen to the Hall of Fame. He received 13 of the 16 votes. This wasn't just an award, it was an act of historical justice. Sadly, Allen wasn't alive to see this vindication. He had passed away on December 7, 2020 at age 78. But his posthumous induction sends a powerful message. It says that talent matters more than manufactured controversy. Dick Allen's story isn't just about baseball. It's about standing up for yourself when the world tries to tear you down. It's about maintaining your dignity when others refuse to give you respect. Allen never asked to be a pioneer. He just wanted to play baseball and take care of his family. The first thing Allen did when he signed his contract with the Phillies was buy his mother a new house. That tells you everything about his character. This wasn't a selfish man, wasn't a troublemaker. This was a son who loved his family. This story has opened your eyes to the real Dick Allen. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more untold stories from sports history. Dick Allen's legacy has finally been reclaimed. It's a legacy of quiet strength, unyielding greatness, and the courage to stand up for yourself when the whole world seems against you.